Let's see. We're going to get this started. We're going to give a few moments for everyone to trickle in. We'll get started once everyone is here. Feel free to let me know that you have arrived by putting it in the comments below. You can put a red rose, say hello to me, say hello to your neighbors in the comments below. We are going to get in a little bit of an oracle and tarot reading for the next 8 years moving forward, where it's going to be some channeling in the beginning. You know how I go. Where 2026 is a foundational year. Yes, let me know that you have arrived by putting a red rose in the comments below. Say hello to me, say hello to your neighbor in the comments below so that we can start this live chat and mystery school teaching. Hello, Laura. Hello, Texas. Hello, hello, hello. Today we're going to be going over some mystery school secrets of how to manifest for the next 8 years, where basically manifest. And how do I word this? Not that manifestation laws have changed. They haven't. It's the 3D outer systems that are crumbling that brings us back home to our ancient wisdom and to all of these universal laws when it comes to manifestation. You know, where this is the year where all of you co-creators are really stepping into their roles, stepping into their higher timeline, stepping into truth, into power, into purpose. Okay, where we're going to see the biggest wealth shift we've ever seen. You're getting ready to see something you have never seen. But the wealth frequency. Okay, where I'm not talking about physical, tangible wealth, which it is that too. But everything has changed when it comes to how we manifest. And what it really is the truth can no longer hide. We are in the age and the frequency of truth within ourselves and in the world. So when it comes to manifestation, things have changed too. And again, things haven't changed. These are immutable universal laws, but we are remembering them as the 3D outer systems collapse. Hello, everyone. Hi, Kari. Hi, Blake. Hi, Texas. And if anyone can be a moderator, some of you may already be moderators. If you would like to be a moderator, feel free to put a blue heart in the comments below, and I will make you a moderator. Oh, my Pisces bestie, blessed forever, 44. Hey, besties, we're gathering over here because things have changed, okay, when it comes to how we manifest. We're going to start, I believe we really started seeing this last year, and we're going to keep seeing this, where the only thing that lasts, the only thing that is a strong and sturdy foundation is soul aligned, is crystallized, and 5D. All right, so for all of you co-creators, new earthers, new earth stewards, this is the time. All right, where there's a big wealth shift. This is the year truly of milk and honey. You know, and for those of you who have been watching, say like YouTube, TikTok, IG spirituality, if you remember for the past 10 years, where it's like, oh my God, we're experiencing a timeline split, a timeline jump. We're kind of coming out of those talks, right? Where this is a timeline split, but there's choices. And the key here is choices. There's just a permanent shift, and it always has been, right? Where all times and spaces always exist at once. But what's very unique about this year especially is that 2026 is a foundation year for the next 8 years of your life, but also of wealth and prosperity. So we're focusing on sacred wealth, abundance, and manifestation, co-creation. So how do you call in everything? I mean, the people, the lovers, the collaborators, the abundance, the wealth, the community, the everything. You know, your soul mission, your soul purpose, for some of you, your soul business is going to need support, resources, tools of all kinds, both tangible and non-tangible. And for those that are in soul alignment, this is the year where you're going to start seeing miracles happen. And I have chills on my crown as I say that. You know, where this is kind of like the underdog year, where if you've been truly doing the work And if you do have that soul foundation, right? I think of Saturn, where this year is heavily Saturn encoded. For those of you who have been on the Patreon, we've been doing this since November in preparation, where we saw in the Patreon what was coming. And now my crown is really tingling. And so from November to the big shift that happened in February in the Patreon, we've been working on our Saturn and Pluto foundations to prepare for this big shift, where you're going to want a true foundation. So we're just going to get started over here. I am going to be pulling out a Kalima card when it comes to the next 8 years moving forward. Now I'm pulling from Kalima today because who can channel destruction the way that Kalima does? Okay, we have Dhumavati here. Now Dhumavati, this card, will often show up in times of like struggle, right? And what I'm feeling is the times of the world where you don't have to be in the energy, the timeline of struggle, of suffering, of things like that. Things are transforming, they're changing. The 3D systems are collapsing. But again, you have the wisdom, the ancient wisdom. So you know how energy works, right? I love how my bird always knows when I'm talking. My bird doesn't do this when we're not always on here, by the way. Or my bird can feel when we're having a conversation, and it almost feels like my bird wants to be a part of it. His name is Bez, by the way. He's a cockatiel, and his name is Bez. That's a dwarf god from ancient Egypt, ancient Kemet. All right, so before I do get in here, we're going to just get a Kalima Oracle card for what do we need to know for the next 8 years when it comes to the collective's soul foundation. So collective, but also personal of your soul foundation. Divine Mother, Divine Father, Holy Spirit of Light, Holy Spirit of God. Divine Mother, Kali Ma. What is the message for the Mystery School Collective today on their initiations into this true foundation for the next 8 years? What do we have for the collective on their true foundation for the next 8 years? Dhumavati, is that Sri Bala? Oh, Sri Bala. That bird. It's still going. Oh my gosh. His name is Bez, yeah, but he knows that we're talking. I actually love, this is my favorite card in the Kalima Oracle deck. Okay. I love that it came out with Dhumavati, that it's such a beautiful message actually coming out from Kalima. Again, if we're going to talk about destruction and chaos, we're going to pull Kalima. What this message is saying is, yep, same card. Can we as a collective go through this through the eyes of a child? Through the innocence, through the curiosity in the eyes of a child. Dhumavati in the Kalima Oracle deck represents time of like poverty, times of like things going on in the world, endings, you know, those kind of things, feeling casted out. Sri Bala, you are wise beyond your years. You are destined to succeed. And that is the truth that the collective is remembering now. This is a prophecy, right? Where we've probably gathered here, you and I, probably more than one lifetime, right? That we've done this together before as a world, as a collective in this realm. You know, where I could also say, like you and I, we have witnessed in other lifetimes this third dimension collapse. So we don't have to get into the energy of fear and anxiety and unsafety and all those different things. I've been describing world events as the law of correspondence, right? We talk about mystery school. Life is the mystery. This realm, 3D, 4D, is mystery school. It's duality, right? And so through the reflection of duality, we are actually always being initiated if we have the eye to see, the initiate eye to see. And so we were like, you were made for this, okay? Where we have Dhumavati and Sri Bala. You know, so in these times, as we approach this teaching it is that I'm going to give in tarot reading, you're destined to succeed. You are a light worker. You are an empath. You are God-led and driven. You are rooted and anchored. Your foundation is from a soul level. We are in this world witnessing it. We are not of it. You know, when I say those things also, it's not to say that things don't happen to you. It's not to say all those different things. But you're in this world, you're not of it. In times of destruction, we understand that our infinite soul light is here for creation. We're not here for destruction. We are here for creation. You know, and I think of like the ashes, creating something from ashes here, because Dhumavati does represent the ashes. But again, I actually love that Sri Bala came out with this card. This represents the divine child that runs into the battlefield and everyone's telling them, no, you're just a child, don't do that. They end up slaying the whole battlefield and succeeding. So whatever maybe you are observing in the world, whatever chaos, destruction you're observing in the world or in yourself, you're destined to overcome it, to succeed it, or yeah, to succeed over here. Okay, so I love that Sri Bala came out with Dhumavati over here, because that's exactly what's going on in the world. Victim, Ultra, Capricorn. Let me know. Feel free to put a blue heart below if you would like to be a moderator. He got to transmute that energy too. Yes, yeah, he's transmuting everybody. You're right, Kari. That bird is helping me. I'm actually not going to tell you what my bearded dragon does to help me in ceremonies. It's TMI, actually. It's something I shouldn't say publicly. There's a part of me that wanted to, but I'm not going to say it. But he does that too to help me transmute energy. And he only does it when I hold ceremonies. Ma, yes. Jai Ma Kali Ma. Bless you, John Mike. You're going to see me in Puerto Rico. Are you going to see me in Puerto Rico for the Sacred Union portal? Is that where we're going together? Because I was just talking to the medicine man who is holding space at our sacred portal, Cacique, which means chief in like the Arawakan Taino language. So the Tainos, the Indians that were on the island before colonization, Cacique means chief. I was just talking to him too. You should join us. Oh gosh. Okay, yes. What wisdom is always needed. Yeah, that wisdom is always needed too. I was thinking of making a workshop, but I'm not sure. Love you, Kari. I love all of you. Spiritual besties. So, 2026 is the foundation of the next 8 years, okay? Where what you do this year lays the foundation. So think of the next 8 years like building a house, right? This year is going to determine your foundation, you know, but also like your leveling. What is it called when you level a house? It's sacred wealth, not surface level money. It's not Jupiter money. It's not Jupiter wealth. It's sacred wealth that is being initiated in this, in the collective right now. Now, when in a world when systems are collapsing, wealth is no longer built through effort. That's exactly what's happening, right? The 3D systems are collapsing. So just to survive, you go somewhere to make some amount per hour, right? Maybe doing things that are costing you your health, your maybe time with kids, your everything, right? Where we are going to slowly as a world come away from the 3D and patriarchal systems. And it's going to look differently for everyone. Now, I'm also not a light worker that says that everybody has to leave these 3D and patriarchal systems. I'm sorry, but people have soul purposes, soul missions, and soul destinies in the system. So it's also just knowing too, like some people, again, are, they do have a soul mission and a role in the system to be the light, right? So as it's deconstructing, you're in the system to be the light, you know. So I'm also just not a light worker that is anti-system completely, where we need things. However, the 3D systems are collapsing, you know, and that's like public education, right? The banking systems, all of these different things. The news channels, right? Nobody trusts the news channels anymore. Nobody even watches the news for news because it's not news. So these are the big transits that are happening that you do want to pay attention to and that are part of building your foundation. I'm going to read the comment right after. Yes, Texas. Go to the website or email me where you'll be able to join the Puerto Rico retreat. So Saturn in Aries, we're going to have Saturn in Aries for a few years. Saturn in Aries is initiating the collective into building a new identity and legacy. And it's not necessarily a new identity or legacy. It's like understanding that you have one, it's there, right? Where like maybe, how do I word this? Your legacy is not what the world wants for you, what other people want for you. Your legacy is like your soul legacy. Right, and so Saturn in Aries, through its karmic fire, is going to reveal that to you and for you. You know, where again, when it comes to identity and even belief systems, so much of it is from trauma or our family systems, right? Religion and dogma. Our outer systems, right? That we're just born into this world or into a country. And we think that this is our truth because it's where we've always been, right? But it doesn't mean that it's your truth. Neptune in Aries, we're 2 more days, okay? 2 more days, baby, where we have a big Saturn and Neptune coming together. It's going to be a 0 point for the nervous system of the collective because the only true safety is found within. The only true safety, the only true abundance, the only true everything is truly found within. Now, again, we're not disembodied, where it doesn't mean that we don't have tangible things. But what we're going to see is the only tangible things you can manifest are going to be soulfully aligned. They're going to be sacred. And by that, I want to go deeper into that. Like, say, for example, things like black magic, right? Say it's like, I want to be a millionaire, no matter what. And I'm not going to do the work to align to the money. I just want to be a millionaire, right? You have to work through the 3 and 4D, and that's what it's going to show. Moving forward in the next 8 years, those who work through the 3 and 4D, of course it always works out for them. And it makes them look like they're hacking the system or the matrix, and they're not. The universe always conspires in your favor because you know how energy works, and so now it works in your favor. Because we understand the system that we thought, right, was like our system, works against us. It doesn't work for us on a soul level, you know. So Neptune in Aries dissolves illusions of who you thought you had to be. So, you know, say I'm in the United States of America. And so because I've been born here and raised here, I have unconsciously adopted belief systems that may not be mine from a soul level. You know, where like, I'll just say what I thought at the age of, say, 15, right? Like, say, before going to college, where I worked so hard to get into an Ivy League, and I did get into it. I worked so hard to get into it. I, as a child, did nothing, like, I don't want to say nothing fun, but I studied a lot. Like, I worked hard. I did triple APs every year, that kind of thing. And I got in. I got all the way in. I spent 6 years trying to get in to realize this is what I thought was success in this world. This is what I thought that I had wanted. It wasn't at all what made me happy. I got in, and then I got into this Ivy League on a free ride, almost free. It was like $1,000 a year, but compared to it cost $80,000 to $100 a year. And so I thought that's what I had to be. I thought that if you go to an Ivy League, you get the degree, you know, you get this success, all those different things. It didn't make me happy at all. Right, so I left that in the midst of leaving that, having my son, going on the spiritual journey, life shifted and changed, right? My values of what I thought was important to me or what success meant to me shifted and changed. And so that's just an example, though, of, right, Neptune and Aries. As these 3D systems crumble, who did you think that you had to be, right? So, you know, we all live in different places. America, there's certain values here, right? Like, think of the American dream. That's what is pressure to us of who we have to be. We should have the American dream. That's the American dream. That's not your dream. Okay, baby, it's the American dream. It's not yours. Where doesn't It's not necessarily who you have to be or even who you are, or even the things that you want. And so again, as we witness these 3D systems crumble, is that really who I want it to be? Is that even what I want? Or is that what I was taught to want and who to be? Pluto in Aquarius is shifting, is rewriting our power wealth systems in the world. So again, power and wealth. We were taught to see them from a certain perspective. Your power is your personal power. Your wealth is your sacred wealth. Dream your dream. Yes, no American dream, no any dream. What's your soul destiny? What's your soul purpose? I have chills as I say that. Where I truly think that our children in the future won't even know what American dream means. They won't even know what it means because it won't matter. But I remember when I was a kid, I remember that of the picket house, you should get married and you should get a degree. That's what I thought I was supposed to do, say growing up, or what was projected upon me. And so this is the first full year that we do have all of this working together. This is the first year that we have Saturn in Aries, Saturn in Neptune, and Pluto in Aquarius, where it's basically saying, hey, what you thought was success, or what you thought was your dream or this or that, it crumbles, it dissolves, right? And we've had so many readings for Pisces about relationships, where even that is also an American dream, right? Not the American dream, you don't have to be from America here, but, a projected dream. Let's get married, let's do this and that. What is aligned? What feels true and what's aligned? Do that, whatever that is to you. What feels aligned, what feels true, and who feels aligned and true to you. That is what it's always been, but especially this year, where again, Pluto in Aquarius, Neptune and Saturn in Aries. The outside world can no longer hide. Feel free to join the Ancient Wealth Initiation. Don't worry, no crazy rituals. It's just a workshop, don't worry. We're just going over universal laws, things like that. It's a guided meditation, but some of this stuff, we're going deep in the hidden laws of wealth. Now, this is $1 million bill, but again, it's it's in your face. Look at this. It's hidden in plain sight. All the codes are in our face, right? And for some reason, that code is coming to mind. I know some of you watching me know it. Is it 01110? I believe it is the code that we say, and I'm forgetting exactly what it is. But yeah, this is the year where it's I can't even watch the news anymore. I can't even any of this, because you see it in plain sight, but this is actually ancient wisdom. These are all hidden codes of your sacred wealth on a bill, trying to tell you to use this, giving away your power each time. Your power is encoded here, and we give it away. Again, it's not to say that we don't need certain things. For some reason, what comes to mind is the penny phasing out, where, and at some point, we're gonna, I don't want to go that far. I don't want to project digital currency, but at some point, we're gonna have less of this, we're just seeing the beginning here. It's remembering too, we're the first ones, this is the first 20 years of the Pluto shift. And so it's having more grace for ourselves, for the world, and for other people, where it's the first 20 years. So of course, people are all figuring it out, kind of going apeshit with the root chakra, right? It's where the world is first awakening. This is the year, though, that you choose your timeline. I'm going to put my phone on the charger shortly, but this is the year that you choose your timeline. And by that, it's understanding that you have a choice, right? Where this world will make you feel oh, you have to do this. This is the year that people are going to say, F it. I'm not doing this. I'm not doing that. I'm taking my kids out the public education system, or things like that, where it's the power of the people at the end of the day that is being activated in the collective moving forward. And just remembering too, you don't have to awaken to the power of the people through chaos of power of the people. I want to, we've also witnessed these patterns in history. So speaking of the Ivy League, my minor was actually political science. And we've seen this all the time in public history, where the people all of a sudden are awakened by, oh, we've been lied to. Let's, and then there's the uproars, there's violence and this and that, and so doing it differently. It feels like things are going to happen a little bit differently. Where again, just look at the patterns of the world. I think of the Boston Tea Party, right? When they realized where it's just like, whoa, and then the Boston Tea Party. So ancient systems don't work in sevens, they work in eights. Now, if you go to not the law of octave, but if you go to the Patreon, you'll have access or gain access to the law of octave, which is the law of success. Not success in a patriarchal way, but success in the means of completion. So success means completion. That's also something that we can shift in the collective, our perspective. Like for me, success doesn't mean patriarchal success. Success means that you've completed something. And that's the ancient meaning of success, completion. So things work in eights, the octave of wealth of mastery. 2026 to 2034 is an 8-year wealth cycle. What you anchor now will multiply. It will. But it is also asking you to work with Saturn. This is a planet nobody ever wants to work with. We don't want to hear about, Saturn retrogrades. As someone who has like nothing to do with Saturn in their birth chart, I have so much. I'm a 12 house stellium. I am a Pisces stellium. Me and Saturn are besties now. All right. After that Saturn and Pisces for the past few years, we became besties. But Saturn actually, like for me personally too, revealed so much to me. When you work with Saturn, what we think is restrictive, oh no, you actually become liberated and free. Whereas I started working with Saturn, like my life, Saturn blessed me. If you work with Saturn, it does bless you. And so the old system used to say, work harder, prove yourself, and chase stability. That timeline's collapsing. The timeline of utilizing your life force energy for another system or person, and I'm also not I'm not a light worker that's telling you to completely leave the system and this and that. I mean, for some of you, you will, if it works, if it's aligned, do that, right? If you leave the system in different ways or slowly leave the system, or for some of you, you are the light in the system. But that timeline's collapsing of the old system again, where you work harder, you prove yourself, and you chase stability. Sacred wealth is different. The frequency of wealth, which is how we're all going to start attracting, and already are attracting, it responds to your soul, right? Your identity, your soul, your energy, your soul mission, your alignment. So it responds to your alignment, and again, from a soul level, your frequency, soul alignment, frequency. I've been doing this all day. The channel members, I said 3 and I put 2, okay? Frequency, soul alignment, but then also the true work that you've done, where again, 5D wealth comes in as you work through the 3 and the 4D, which means that do you actually have a foundation that works? A foundation that can say hold your manifestations and abundance or love, whatever it may be. I'm gonna I haven't seen the comments in a second. I want to respond to a few people. Yes, love, the frequency of truth. Yes, we need land. It's interesting that I saw someone yesterday, and there's someone that they have like millions of followers. So I was actually surprised at the post that they put, but they said, hey, we need a community. Do you want to be our community? And I love that. And again, I was actually surprised where they have millions of followers. And they're like a sound healing couple on YouTube, but they have other forms of social media too. So they're really out there, and they put it out to all their followers. We're sick and we're effing tired. We have the land, we have a house. Where's our community? And I actually love that, where I feel like people are going to start doing that more. Hey, I have a house. I have extra room. Where is the aligned community? Hey, we have land. We just are lacking the community. Hey, we have abundance. We have a nonprofit actually that we would like to disperse this abundance and get some projects done. I need a board because I can't do it by myself. that kind of thing. And I actually love that. I do feel like people are going to start doing that more, and we really do need to, where I'm actually going to finish this comment. We need land. We need to become self-sufficient, and we need to connect to our soul family. Yes. Where my 7-year-old, he's already gardened a few years in a row, but that's something I want him to know how to do, is to grow his own vegetables, fruits, things like that. Our kids would be so much happier learning, outside of traditional classrooms, yes, where it just takes, say, one high priest or high priestess that like has the maybe like the certifications, right? The things like to actually teach children. Uh, I saw one group of people, a community that had a plan like that, where they would get one high priestess that would teach the children while the other high priestesses work together. And I do think again that we're coming home to all of that. The original ancient system was bartering, but here's the issue, where when it comes to spiritual work, and this is something not a lot of people are going to like, I'm sorry, whenever I give this message, things were never free. And the reason why I say that is because in ancient times, elders, gurus, shamans, they were taken care of. They didn't charge you, but they had a home that was provided for. The soul tribe and community gave them food, etc. Where, if we're not going to use the 3D system, that's fine, but there also has to be bartering. There has to be some sort of energy exchange. Energy exchange is actually an ancient law. And I won't go deep into that. There's a few different gods, goddesses, universal laws that say that there's a particular deity that's really helped me with understanding that too, our ancient laws of how just money works, which there's still an exchange, is Ajay. Ajay is an Orisha. And for many years now, but especially I would say like the past year and a half, helped me reclaim my ancient remembrance, though, of, again, ancient systems of reciprocity and exchange, which like was back then with cowrie shells, but again, bartering, is going to come back. It's also releasing fear, of wealth systems too, where if you're living in your soul mission, soul purpose, soul alignment, things will flow your way. There will always be a way made for those who are in the frequency of wealth. I don't have to do anything anymore. I get to do it. Exactly. Yes. It's also shifting your perspective of, it's not that you have to do something. I have the opportunity to do this. Right. Hi, Tara. Thank you for being here. I hope you buy that Phantom Texas. I really hope you do. Thank you, Bruzan. He said, you've been right all along. The world is changing. You've been telling us about it for months. Listen, Linda, listen. Now I started 5 to 6 years ago, but 5 to 6 years ago, I used to give New Earth messages, and I still very much do, like where things have evolved, but nothing's changed. That I realized certain things I channel are usually a year ahead. And I just stopped caring about of like, why would they say that? What are you talking about? It happens, but yeah, for those of you who are also, part of, say, the crystal grid keepers of the new earth, and many of you light workers out there, we are feeling collective events and collective shifts way before it happens, where I'll often go through things a year, even before it happens in the collective, or see things a year beforehand, and many of us do too. Because it's not predictable, but at the same time, the prophecy does repeat. And it's not always in the same way, like the Boston Tea Party may not happen again like it did, but similar themes every 260 years. It always happens, where it's our outer world, wealth system, government systems. So, although we don't know what will happen next, there's a little bit of predictability, Yes, we do. Yes, we all have gifts to contribute. Everyone has something to offer. And that's something that someone else needs to receive. Yep, just enjoying the ride. Happy birthday to you. Blessings. Yes, that cycle is closing out, okay? Melodies Network, that cycle is closing out. I've been working on my own business and quite literally have been trading and bartering my services. That's great. And also, anyone who has a soul, and again, keyword soul business, that's going to take off. And you are going to be the light worker, the empath, the God-led and driven entrepreneur that in this destructive world, how the heck is that person doing so well? How is it, how are they succeeding? How, because your soul business is soulfully aligned. Where again, we're just coming into soul alignment in the world. So that's what's activating now is crystallized wealth, where your spiritual alignment and your physical reality merge. Where if you're truthfully wealthy on the other side, and you also have the 3D container to hold it, because that's going to be a big part of this too. With the Pisces Virgo axis of North Node and South Node, delusional spirituality is out. And by that, and I will say I defend Pisces more than any other sign, Pisces are not delusional. If you can manifest it, it's not delusional. That's my theory. Like, I don't care how crazy you sound, just prove it to me. And if you prove it to me, not that you need to prove anything to me, but I'm saying that I don't care about delusion, just do it. Okay. And then they'll stop talking, but when I say delusional spirituality, I mean spirituality that is not shadow integrated and that is not embodied, right? Where it's like, I don't know. Say you're out just astral traveling every day. You're not really caring about the food that's going into your body. It's like things like that, where I give this example, and I love this person. I knew someone in the past that they said God told them not to pay their rent for 2 years. And let me tell you, that didn't work out good at all. That did not work out for them. Like, it wasn't as bad as it could have been, but things like that, and I'm thinking now, what's his name? Michael Murdad. I love Michael Murdad. He was one of the first spiritual teachers I ever came across, was Michael Murdad. And I remember a sermon, he has like a Christ Consciousness church in Sedona, that I watched of his almost 5 years ago now. And even he said, please don't not pay your bills because God told you not to, and I mean, also personal, that like sometimes I don't know what's going on in your life, right? Or those collectors, but like that, right? Where it's like, no, let's not drink Red Bull all day or not eat or not take care of ourselves and our lives, right? There's some sort of 3D foundation, different for everyone, that you may need. It's different for everyone though, where again, some people live just off the land. That's secure. That's great. That's what you're meant to do. There's some people, who are a little bit more in the system. That's okay too. When your spiritual alignment and your physical reality align, or the 5D and then the 3D, sacred union, they merge. Your gifts become your income. Your presence becomes your power. Your frequency becomes your magnetism. Where things just work out. Doesn't matter where you go, things are going to work out. And even when it seems like they're not working out, it does work out. Now, in the next 8 years, you're going to see light workers rise rapidly. Again, this is not me in some marketing scheme of like, hey, we're experiencing a quantum wealth shift and you better hop on it or not by the time that my course comes out. No, it's not that. No, seriously. Like for here on out, 8 years, there's a big wealth shift. And if you are working with, especially Saturn, this is the year that you want to become besties with Saturn. Spiritual bestie. Let me tell you, it's like, when you do something and you want to tell your spiritual bestie that it really worked, work with Saturn and go look in your birth chart. So right now, wherever you are, it would be your Saturn, zodiac sign, and the house. That's your foundation of wealth. So I'll give you an example that my Saturn is in the 6th house. My wealth truly only comes when I have a daily routine. If I'm not writing down my schedule, it doesn't work. If I write down a schedule, which my Pisces self naturally doesn't like to do, it works, you know, and things flow. And so for me, I'm actually someone who needs a schedule. I don't operate with well, and so does the wealth too. But just flowing, that Pisces energy, okay? I'm not, despite all my Pisces, I'm not meant to be in a just flow. My life operates better with some form of structure. All right. That's also your Saturn, though. If you've been trying to manifest love, opportunities, wealth, prosperity, and it doesn't seem to land or to stick, working with your Saturn is the container for your wealth. So, say you're a Jupiter. If you're only trying to manifest wealth, prosperity, anything through Jupiter, Jupiter expands anything. Jupiter loves everybody. You know the song of everybody? Jupiter loves everybody. So even if you're not ready to hold it, you may get it or not get it, and then it leaks through the hole in the bottom of the container. You know, so Saturn, if you just work with that or start to work with it, you'll see your wealth shift as well. Yeah, and so people in the next 8 years, you're going to see light workers, God-led and driven entrepreneurs, empaths, people who are ready. They're going to rise rapidly in the next 8 years. And it's going to be interesting because you're going to see the world fall apart. That's where Sri Bala and Dhumavati comes in here. To other people, it's like, no, the world is breaking down. You see something different. Yes, there's destruction. You're not part of that destruction. You're the creator here. You're the co-creator of the world that has chosen to be here in times of destruction. Again, it's not to say that you won't experience some of this in consciousness or outside of you, but you're a co-creator. You're here to observe this. You're in the world, you're not of it. You're destined to succeed. So while rather the rest of the world falls into fear and terror and anxiety, and what do we do? You know what to do. You don't have to be in that frequency. You understand that's exactly what the mirror of the world wants, for you to be in that frequency so that you don't succeed, right? Because it's not about effort, it's about alignment. And so that's exactly why we did create the Ancient Wealth Initiation. It's on April 8th. All right, so even if you can't join us live, you can still have access to the recording. On April 8th, the Ancient Wealth Initiation, we are revealing everything when it comes to wealth. We're at $1 million bill right here. Universal laws, both mutable and immutable. Mystery school teachings. We're even going to decode the dollar bill. Everything regarding wealth and its systems, the frequency of wealth. So how to tap into this for the next 8 years is going to be in the workshop. So I know it says Ancient Wealth Initiation. Don't worry. It's actually just a workshop. All right. Come as you are. And most people can feel this shift, but don't know how to anchor it. Where even some of you feel it, where it's like, oh, this feels good for light workers. I'm feeling this, but I don't know exactly what this is. To anchor it, especially because we have such Saturn placements in Aries and Saturn, you cannot hide from your Saturn anymore. Saturn actually can be very helpful. All right, so again, zodiac sign in the house of your Saturn is how you best hold wealth. Let's see. Yeah, and for example, right, if of not knowing how to anchor it, it's about embodying the frequency of wealth, which is not determined by what you even have, right? But it's the frequency. For some of you, activating your soul mission and purpose as your income, where you're truly going to see more people step into soul purpose, soul mission, and business more than ever before, right? Where there's all these layoffs and inflation and this and that. What's going to be true to you is only on a soul level. And also building from alignment instead of survival, right? So we're going to be building and even connecting, collaborating from alignment, not survival. This initiation is not initiation. It's just an activation through information. So feel free to join us April 8th. That's going to be on 144bluerosetemple.com. It will be recorded even if you can't join us live. So feel free to go check out the website. And that's where we're going to unlock your personal wealth code. I gave you a little bit here with the Saturn energy, but we'll be unlocking your personal wealth code, recalibrating your identity and nervous system to receive, and anchoring you into this timeline of sacred, sustainable overflow. Okay? So feel free to join. It's going to be at 144bluerosetemple.com. We do have a Pisces reading that's uploading as well. Yes. I've been teaching in the system for 22 years. Yes, and I'm happy seeing more and more empathic children are light workers. That's beautiful. I've been wanting to homeschool, integrating homeschool. Your 5th house is in Aries. Ooh, 5th house of love and romance and creativity. Oh, you found out you're a Pisces stellium. So you have 3 or more placements with Pisces, which means that Pisces definitely is like a dominant ruler in your birth chart. I'm reading the comments here. Oh, there we go. There we go. Everyone can follow their own paths and journeys, right? And so following what you're called to do, some people have a soul mission that maybe it's more of creating, right? Like the Pisces readings where some of you are not called always to like have a relationship and not have a relationship in that sense, but that's not everyone's soul mission and purpose. You know, some of you are called to create. Some of you are called for different things. You know, there are going to be people who are very much in the system. There will be people that are just sitting in the grass. Everybody is divinely and uniquely designed and perfect as they are. I'm the total opposite. I like operating on my flow. I'm the total opposite too. I'm the total opposite too, Kari. Man. There's also children. I love, you know, I remember when I first started training and apprenticing with medicine men and women, someone once told me, shamans back in the day, the initiation was becoming a parent. And I would still say that that's true, that's an initiation that's kind of different. You know, your life changes, how you even see things, your focus, your everything changes. It's an initiation to the nervous system, to everything. Ooh, yeah, girl, you could. Saturn in the 8th house. Now, so Cassidy, you have Saturn in the 8th house. 8th house is hidden wealth. That's Scorpio energy. So, I'm going to look up for something more clear than maybe what I can say. But if your Saturn's in the 8th house, what also comes through is themes of taboo, of the underworld, of subconscious, like power, intimacy, like physical intimacy, things like that. The occult. There's hidden stuff there. And also, as you work with that 8th house, and I don't know what sign that you said your Saturn is, but the 8th house, now that is a house of wealth, Pluto, but it's a house of hidden wealth. And by that, it means that you have to have a transformation. So with Saturn in the 8th house, it could also mean, yeah, because there's some struggles with that where you may have even struggled with money and wealth with Saturn in the 8th house. But the only reason is because your wealth, you have to transform. Like your wealth requires death and rebirth. And so it's also kind of like a soul contract of healing. There's a lot of psychological growth. It's also shared resources. So that's why I'm also happy I looked it up. I forgot the 8th house is shared resources. So your wealth could be tied up with people and things. Yes, turning pain into purpose. Yes. And then also that your wealth is pretty tied up with other people. The 8th house deals with shared resources. So your greatest wealth like could also come through an intimate relationship, some like an estate, you know, like inheritance kind of thing. Things like that. Like 8th house is also the house of inheritances. Real estate also, some like real estate or land can mean something to you. Things like that. That's literally yours too, yes. And there's certain wealth placements that maybe 10 years ago for me, like I thought that they were karmic. And then when when I dove deeper into astrology, I'm like, oh, no, it's actually not karmic, but it demands that you heal something. So, for example, if you have Pluto in the second house, that is actually a freaking powerhouse for wealth. In the beginning of your life, it's not going to seem like it is. It actually requires so much healing. Pluto is ruled by Scorpio, the eighth house. And to have that in your second house, that's actually, it could be insane, extreme wealth at some point in your life. But it requires to do so much work before it comes in. Yes, yes, helping people generational wealth. Yes, but also generational wealth like passed down, where you might be someone who either receives like land or wealth or things from other people, or you're destined to give them to your children, kind of thing. Well, I'll be bored because I'm not doing anything without a woman. Yes, relationships are beautiful. Yep, still learning how to overcome a lot of the shadow. Yes, Kari. Remember you telling me that on my chart I would have extreme wealth by 30 and love doing the work. Yeah, it reminds you of Isis and how Isis started off. Isis played poor for 7 years. And let me explain to you why I say played poor. That Isis, for the first 7 years of having Horus, you heard that? For the first 7 years of having Horus, Isis had to hide. The fact that she gave birth to such a divine child, and my crown is tingling. The fact that she gave birth to such a divine child, they ended up experiencing crazy spiritual attacks for 7 years straight, where like it was bad. And so Isis had to constantly hide her identity in that she was royal. She posed as a woman who was in poverty. She posed as a woman that would just take odd jobs, but in reality, she was royalty, and so was her son. They got attacked so much that, again, like she would just take the odd jobs, this and that. She couldn't really be seen too much because she would always get attacked, and her son. And then it was only after 7 years that, you know, this prophecy was reclaimed and they received all of the wealth it is that was always theirs. And so that's the story of Isis. Yeah, to me, it's inspiring as well. You know, where Isis in her story was also a single mother. Osiris was not there. And so she was constantly homeless with Horus. She was hiding in rooms, hiding in places, hiding in her people's homes. People kicked her out of homes. So people called Isis a beggar when in reality, she was actually the queen of Egypt. But there's a story of a woman who was rich and wealthy and kicked Isis and her son out of the home. They ended up getting a lot of karma because the woman was like, oh my God, she's a beggar. Get her off of my property. Yeah. And then it was like revealed the truth. Yeah, that story always tingles my soul too. Isis and the Seven Scorpions. Yeah, and it's also a reminder too, like she always reminds me too of like, let's not judge people and their duality and shadow cycles. You don't know who they're going to be when their Pluto cycle, their Saturn cycle is done. Because that's the thing, right? 7 years, that's a Pluto cycle and a Saturn cycle. Does it represent on a deeper level the process of transformation, the number 7? Right? You know, where it's like after someone's done with their Pluto Saturn cycle, let's not judge a shadow. Right? We see that though with the law of octave. So feel free to go join the Patreon. It shows the law of octave too. That to actually complete something, to be successful. So say you set an intention, I'm going to write a book. There's actually 3 shadow intervals where you're going to think that everything's about to hit the fan and you should quit. Actually, not even due to. Based off mystery school and ancient wisdom and teachings, those are 3 prophetic shadow instances that you're meant to go through. And so many people quit right before it happens. You know, where they think that the shadow is bad or that they're not meant to do things, you know, because of like this happened, it's karmic, I'm not meant for it. No, go look it up on Google, the law of octave or the law of success. And it's destined that people will go through things before they become successful or even complete a goal or a manifestation. you know. But yeah, I always love those stories. And even the story of Isis, that people don't know that early story. She worked really hard for 7 years making pennies just to protect her identity because she was getting attacked so much. And then when it was safe, she finally revealed who she was. Yeah, we're going to get in a reading on soul and sacred wealth for you. We got in this mystery school teaching today. We got in a Kalima card. I love the cards that came out because for Sri Bala, that's my favorite one. Okay, Sri Bala. But for that to come out with Dumavati, where it's very sacred, right? The Dumavati, again, that's like the energy of banishment, of hunger, of poverty. Sri Bala, we're in this world, we're not of it. You are destined to succeed. Do not fall for the mirror reflection of destruction. You are a co-creator, and that is what it is that you have came here to do. You will take the ashes of the world, you will put it on your forehead, and you will say Om Namaha Shiva. Okay, that's what we're doing. Collective 144K chosen ones. Now there is a Pisces video that's uploading. I decided to go live first before we did the video. Pisces, oh my gosh, Pisces, it's kind of an extension from the last reading. Pisces, Lilith, there you go. It's an extension of the last reading, Pisces. So I don't know what your Pisces are going through, spiritual besties. Some of you have some love in your life, though. Spiritual bestie, I want to hear all about it. Thank you for being here, Hollywood Rich Boulevard. Sending riches your way. All right, so we're going to get in a quick reading just on sacred wealth. What do you need to know right now about your sacred wealth? And then we're going to upload the Pisces video. All right, Divine Mother, Divine Father, Holy Spirit of Light and God, for the Divine Collective, for the chosen ones out there today, what do we have for a message today? What do they need to hear the most? The general collective today. What does the general collective need to hear the most on sacred wealth? I love it. Mary Magdalene, sacred marriage, and expanding your consciousness, okay? Where with the Mary Magdalene, and we have sacred medicine here, sacred marriage. Remember that we're speaking of the sacred union of the 5D and the 3D. So this is also the sacred union of you and your sacred wealth, right? What does it require? An expansion of consciousness, understanding how money, right, how wealth systems actually work, not in the ways that we once knew of it. All right, what do we have for the general collective today? This message on sacred wealth. What do they need to hear the most today on sacred wealth? Why expand your consciousness and sacred marriage? For sacred wealth, why do we have expand your consciousness and sacred marriage? Now, I'm also hearing for some of you, like physical, tangible 3D systems may be part of your journey, you know, where it's not going to be completely in the grass or off grid. For some of you, it will. For others of you, money, like releasing even that belief, money is the root of all evil, expanding your consciousness and sacred. That's what they want you to think, right? Who made that up? I'm on Google right now. Where does the root of all evil being money come from? If it came from religion or dogma, the patriarchy, you know exactly why they said that. Where does it, yes, it did. It did. It came from the patriarchy, didn't it? So the patriarchy, which rules wealth, is telling you that money is the root of all evil. Yeah, it's the patriarchy. Like, you see where I'm going with that, where understand, like religion, dogma, all of these patriarchal systems have, I said this in a few lives ago, what is actually true, they're going to tell you is false or is bad. And that's just always the way it is. Right? Now, yeah, natural law. I like that that card came out. It's a natural ancient law, wealth and money, right? Where it doesn't have to be physical money. But for some of you, what you need to hear in this reading is don't necessarily denounce it either. Now, if it's your path to completely walk away, that's a good thing. That's a great thing. But it's not going to be everyone's path. Where there's just a big shift when it comes to money, wealth, and finances. It's actually a natural law over here. If we reclaim the truth about sacred wealth and the frequency of wealth. What do we have for the general collective today on what they need to hear the most today on sacred wealth? Why expand your consciousness, sacred merit, wealth. There we go. There we go. Natural law, money, wealth, okay? So fruition, abundance, reaping what you sow. Let's get some tarot over here. I'm going to grab this deck. I'll put my microphone in. They told me to, what'd you say, Kari? They told me to get my blank out of the grass and walk this earth. Yeah. I have a lot of Pisces in my chart. Let me tell you, I could have done my whole life just in the grass. I really could have. For me, it was my son. That even our placements, like it showed it. There's a part of me that has wanted to post astrology birth charts for parents and for children. I find that it's very helpful of like finding what even you and your child's inner child. So like your inner child and your child, how they mirror one another. What are the soul contracts? What are the restrictions, etc. So if you are a parent, go look at your child's birth chart and compare it to yours. Mars in Aries is your chart ruler. Oh, and your twin flame, that's in Aries. Let's see. All right. So what do we have for the chosen ones today, the general collective over here? Do children often have the same sun as your rising? No, but I do think that that is very important. It can mean something definitely. Where my son, my Pisces energy, he has in his Venus and Neptune. So a lot of his psychic gifts, and it's in the 8th house, which makes him very sensitive to energy. And he even told me, Mom, like he described to me before I gave birth to him, and that he saw portals. And he said these exact words. So like, I'm not taking anything out or putting anything in. Mom, there was a really rich family, and their door was right next to yours. But I saw your superpowers, and then I chose you. So, different kind of wealth. I don't know, but all of it. I don't know. All of the wealth. But it's just interesting that he said that. And then I look in the birth chart, and with the Pisces stuff, it all actually aligns. I'm sorry if you're twin flame. Sorry, Kari. Oh, you're talking about my son. Oh, thank you. Oh, my twin. Oh, that's what you mean. My twin. Okay, I'm sorry. All right, what do we have for the chosen ones for the general collective on this message of sacred wealth today? What do we have for this message on sacred wealth today? Why do we have expand your consciousness, sacred marriage, money, and natural law? Why do we have money, abundance, natural law, expand your consciousness, sacred marriage? Why do we have sacred marriage, expand your consciousness, money, and natural law? Expansion. There we go. Money. Page of Pentacles. Listen, Linda, listen. Pause, play, record. I want to take all of these twin flame cards out of the deck. I'm personally, like, I've left it a long time ago, and it's only for my spiritual besties. It really is only for my spiritual besties. That's it. I've left that a long time ago. I am in union with God. Me and him, we're so happy. We're so happy. We're in such a union. Yes, Kari. But the twin flame readings, I do it for y'all. I love y'all. It's not for me. Man, those cards. All right. Now, Ace of Pentacles, 7 of Cups, 3 of Wands. For this message on sacred wealth, what do we have for money, abundance, divine order, expand your consciousness, and Mary Magdalene's sacred marriage? Why do we have Ace of Pentacles for expand your consciousness and Mary Magdalene sacred marriage? Why Seven of Cups for expand your consciousness, money, natural law? Why Three of Wands for expand your consciousness, money, natural law? Why Three of Wands and the Six of Cups for expand your consciousness, money, and natural law? Why Three of Wands and Six of Cups for expand your consciousness, money, and natural law? Yeah. Six of Cups, Six of Pentacles. It's going to shift. And then the Six of Wands victory. I love it. Where, yes, God first. Where, and Six of, look at 10 of Pentacles, baby. Put it in the comments below. I am a 10 of Pentacles. Put it in the comments below. And we split the deck to the Page of Pentacles. You are a walking pentacle, you watching me. Okay, we have success is your natural state. Where expanding consciousness, right? Seven of Cups can represent illusions. So over here, we have a 3-card spread. Ace of Pentacles, the Hermit card. It says, I seek truth, right? And so wealth is found within, right? The wealth frequency is something we can only find within. Seven of Cups, 10 of Swords. Often, and that's just like how people awaken, right? Is the removal of something often. And then it stops being removed once you got the point, right? But what I do see here is there's some sort of, maybe with money, wealth, and prosperity, Seven of Cups, the 10 of Swords, there is dissolving of illusions in a way that brings an ending. But what that does is it expands the mind, right? The heart, the nervous system to receive, right? And triggers, right? Because we mentioned triggers in the comments, where it's triggering to lose money. It's triggering to lose your job. It's triggering to have inflation happen. Sorry, these are my intrusive thoughts, where 4 years ago in the city, a 3-bedroom was $1,000. It's gone up in 3 years by $1K for a 3-bedroom. 3 years. To me, that's kind of crazy. But where, like inflation, right? All those different things. We cannot control the world. As empaths, as light workers, we often fall into control. And we think we're not controlling, you know? Where we try to control the world. There's certain things that, you know, it's just going to happen kind of thing. Where we're going to experience changes in our wealth systems, right? And it's going to be triggering. So what do? And that's exactly what's coming up in the next few days. We have a 20th to the 22nd. It's going to be a 0 point for the collective. When you cannot cling to anything, the only safety is inside of you. Yes, the system is a dang trigger. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. You know, where, again, law of correspondence, that's how we're being like initiated, right? Life is the mystery school. It's always initiating us if we have the eye to see. Triggers can be initiating, right? If we don't fall into the trigger, right? It's triggering our nervous system. But I'm not going to fall into the trigger. I'm going to allow this to expand my consciousness. And that's what I see here, right? Where it asks us to come back to more balance, right? Where just truth is the world consumes too much. There's no reason why we should have as much trash as we do in all of these countries, you know, like billions of pounds of trash, and it, you know, ends up in the ocean, all these different things, right? The world is awakening to these things. Again, we can yell and scream at the world, but it's asking us to feel safe within, because again, the frequency is found within you. Where, how do I word this? Wealth, the frequency, sacred wealth, is attracted to a safe nervous system that is open and ready to hold it. But truthfully, not lying, you know, of just saying it. Truthfully, you're ready to hold it. When we get triggered in these ways, again, it's asking us to come home to wealth is only found within. I'm not going to worry about that window, that car, that this, that, the price is going up there. Well, again, I'm safe. I know that I'm safe because I know that I'm in wealth frequency. It's always going to work out for me. I'm not worried about an apartment. I have 5 that are just offered to me out of nowhere, right? Where, yes, right? Say inflation, right? You're a light worker. Everything is soul aligned. You're going to find a spot. Oh, these landlords actually, they're begging me to stay. These, or rather, my soulmates, my community always has a home for me, always has food for me, always has this. You're coming home to true wealth. You don't have to worry about the lack of anything because either the frequency, I'm always attracting anyway, so I'm not really worried. Or I just have so much community, or, right? I have so much community that I'm not worried. Somebody I know can help me and will happily do it, and I will happily do it for them. Or again, doors can't be closed on me because another door always opens. We're coming home to that frequency, to that remembrance. It's safe. It's okay, right? The world wanted us distracted, working 40 to 60-hour weeks, 80-hour weeks, mad at one another and this and that. The world, throwing out, Republican, Democrat, so that we're not friends with our neighbors, when in reality, we should be walking into each other's homes, right? These belief systems, the news, politics, all of it divides us, when truthfully, we should be able to walk into each other's homes, to cook for one another, to be there for one another, of what's aligned to. Find those who are aligned, all of those different things. So many people are not on board yet. Yes, let's get them, right? Where again, like I shared earlier in the live, I was actually surprised that a couple that's like a sound healing couple, they have millions of followers. So I was surprised that they did that. And they said, hey, we're sick and tired of not having a community. We have millions of followers. Where's the community? But I was like, yes, you and everyday Hamza, and so look for aligned souls, right? And you be the frequency, be open to it, and just watch how things start to flow effortlessly. Both sacred wealth, and wealth is also in the form of love, of joy, of the people around us and community. Just watch how it flows with much less effort into your life. Okay, so I'm going to grab a card of advice. What is one card of advice for expand your consciousness, money, and natural law? Why the Hierophant here for money, natural law, expand your consciousness. You're breaking traditional systems. That's why the Hierophant came out. The Star card, Aquarius, right? Pluto in Aquarius. 8 of Cups. Now is the time to break traditional systems. We have the Star card over here, which is asking us to come home to sacred service. And then the Knight of Swords. Why the Star card with the Knight of Swords over here for advice? Why the Star card with the Knight of Swords for advice? Ace of Swords and come home to truth. The Chariot card, Year of the Horse. All right. And so as you cut out perhaps the systems, the beliefs, the whatever that were never yours to begin with, you come home to your truth. Okay, your soul truth. That's what I have for you. I do hope that it resonates in a positive way. We do have a Pisces reading that should be uploading in the next hour or so. All right, and that reading is a little bit of an extension from the last reading. And feel free to join us April 8th. We do have the Ancient Wealth Initiation, and it's just a workshop. No worries, of all of the hidden and universal laws of ancient wealth, how to manifest in these times, and more. All right, so feel free to join us. But thank you for being here today. Yes, thank you, pause, play, and record. Thank you, Hamza. Thank you, Kari, for all of your comments and for being here always. Kevin, the Dallas way. I got to switch accounts. Yeah, you know it. You know the timing, right? We got to switch accounts for certain things. Got to switch an account to make the comment you want to make. All right. Sending you all so much love and so many blessings. Bye for now. I will see you tomorrow.